Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate your time, and we're glad to have you here with us today. I'll start by saying my name is Sarah. I am the recruiting manager here with the Bridge program. I actually did the Bridge program about 8 years ago when I was an undergrad, right after I graduated, and then proceeded to a career in marketing at brands like Wayfair and agencies like Digitas before joining the Bridge team this past summer. So I'm excited to be here, excited to be talking to you guys today, excited to introduce some of my colleagues who will be talking about the program. I do want to start with a few housekeeping items before we jump in. As you probably heard when you joined, we are recording this. Don't worry, we're not recording you or what you say. We are just recording the pieces that our team is doing so that we have those sound bites as we might need them moving forward. We also have defaulted to muting you all. That's just to make sure that we keep noise to a minimum, kind of reduce distractions. So please do stay muted throughout the presentation portion of this session tonight. You can also choose whether or not you have your videos on. Always nice to see your faces, but obviously no pressure there. And then last but not least, questions. We will reserve some time for questions at the end. Feel free to ask your questions via the chat as you think of them throughout the session so you don't forget it. And we'll just, we'll be answering those toward the end, or feel free to save it toward the end when I ask for questions. So two options there, your choice as well. All right, so, obviously in order to ensure the health and safety of our community this summer, we've decided to move our Bridge programs to an online format. Many of you know that, and that's why you're joining here tonight. Our summer virtual Bridge curriculum will include all of the comprehensive business topic areas as our traditional residential program. We're excited to be able to deliver this to you virtually and offer you all a meaningful way to really spend your summer or a portion of your summer, those 3 weeks. Today, we'll be covering the 3 key pillars of the Bridge experience, of the Bridge program. First, the business curriculum. Then we'll talk through the capstone project and study groups and what that'll look like virtually. And then we'll finally move into career programming. So all of the key reasons why the Bridge program is so excellent, we'll talk about all 3 of those and how we'll be facilitating those components in a virtual format. So first, I want to start with the business curriculum. So we have today with us our faculty director and professor of accounting, Leslie Robinson, who will start by walking you through our plans for the business curriculum. So please please join me in welcoming Leslie.
Thank you, Sarah. You can hear me okay? Just nod if you can hear me, Sarah. Great. My name is Leslie Robinson. I am a professor of accounting here at the Tuck School. I have been teaching accounting in the Bridge program and in the MBA program for 14 years. And I'm also the faculty director of the Bridge program. So what that means is I get the joyous task with these lovely ladies of designing a program that we have done for 23 years here in person and delivering it virtually. And so basically what we plan to do is take a program that we have been doing really well for 23 years and do it a little bit differently. So I'm here to talk to you about that for a moment, and then hopefully can answer any questions that you might have about how we're thinking about adapting the coursework side to deliver virtually. So there will be some slight differences in how we do it. So first of all, I just want you to know what we're not doing, because that's I think an easier place to start. And a lot of people have different ideas about what online learning actually means or what remote learning actually means. I have 2 teenagers right now, and they're watching a lot of pre-recorded videos, and it's hard for them to stay engaged. And so what we are not going to do is deliver our courses via pre-recorded videos. We will have full days. You will have full days of live courses. And I'll show you a typical daily schedule here in a second. We've designed it to sort of have screen time in mind for you guys. So we've designed the day a little bit differently than the in-person session, but all of your coursework will be delivered live by a faculty member. And again, I'll show you that in a second. So we're not going to just do a bunch of pre-recorded videos that you sit and watch. That's not at all what we have in mind. The other thing that we don't plan on doing is we don't plan on cutting any of the content that we deliver in the courses, or any of the content that we deliver more broadly in the Bridge program, which would be the career side and the project side. And then just the general cohort networking experience with the team building and working in teams. So we tend to deliver every element of the Bridge program just in creative ways. And I'll speak mostly to the career side, the coursework side of it, and then we'll talk about career and projects as well. So we are going to have all of the elements. And we have capabilities here. We have a lot of enthusiasm. For instance, there's one strategy professor who spends a day with you in the Bridge program, and he is completely redesigning his session to try out some new things, and thinks that he can even deliver greater value in an online environment because of the way that he can break you up into groups and give you the learning in smaller chunks. And so faculty really do have a lot of enthusiasm about going through this experience with you, trying some new things, and maybe even some aspects of the learning can be better than they would be in person because they're facilitated by technology. So we just ask you to keep an open mind with us, and I want you to know that the enthusiasm's there. We're delivering 42 MBA courses right now online in our spring semester. We have weekly faculty meetings about how things are going there and what's working well and what's not working well. So from our side, I just want you to express that we have a lot of enthusiasm for doing this, and we really expect that it'll be a good experience. So the curriculum, just a couple of things that I want to point out about the curriculum. So if you do decide to join us with the Bridge program, of course, we go over the curriculum again at the start of the programs, but let me just give you a broad sense for some of the things that I think are special about our program. One of the things that I think is really special is that we have this integrated core curriculum that is highly integrated and coordinated, and we do that as well in the MBA program. And by that I mean, you know, we have a group of core faculty: accounting, finance, marketing, strategy, economics, and we get together, spreadsheet modeling as well, and we get together and we sequence and we carefully think about, you know, when are you introducing this particular topic, and when are you, you know, so in corporate finance, they don't want to start talking about balance sheets until I've covered balance sheets. They don't want to talk about free cash flows until I've talked about depreciation. And so we have this really nice integrated framework where all of the faculty are talking to each other and referencing each other's classes. So I think that makes our program, our MBA program as well as the Bridge program, special, because we're not just delivering a bunch of discrete classes to you. We really do try to deliver what I would call a business education, which has to integrate by definition across different dimensions. The other thing that we offer in our Bridge program that you'll find is we have a lot of diversity in addition to the core curriculum. We have, most of them are set up as individual sessions, and a lot of how we choose those are based on feedback from Bridge participants in the past that have really liked a particular course or a particular faculty member. We'll have them back, and we experiment from time to time with new things. So an example of these sessions would be things like covering one session of business ethics. We have two strategy professors who have written many books that will spend time with you on what they've written about, each one for one session. We have a session on negotiations, and that's always been really popular. And we have a session on entrepreneurship. So the director of our Center for Entrepreneurship here will cover for you, and his son did the Bridge program, funny enough, as well. He'll cover entrepreneurship with you. So we have, in addition to this foundational curriculum, which every sort of business education in this short time frame should try to deliver in some sense, we also augment it with a lot of opportunities for you to just, you know, broaden your perspective and maybe take an interest in different aspects of the program. And then I would say the last thing that you will see in our curriculum is We're going to really try to keep that personal touch that I think Tuck's brand is really built around. And by that, I mean, we have a number of faculty office hours. So here's where I'm going to share my screen with you and show you what we have in mind for a typical day. So Sarah, you're just going to nod your head if you can see that. Okay. So when we thought about what we want the typical day to look like for you, so that not every day will be exactly like this, but the majority of them will be. We have some exceptions for when you get into some of the simulations and the project work, but what we have in mind for this, to keep this personal side of the program, even in an online forum, is we're going to have in the morning when you're nice and fresh. We usually start at 8:30, but we pushed it out to 9 to try to accommodate people on the West Coast. I know that's still early, but that's why we're starting at 9 as opposed to 8:30. And you'll have two 75-minute long classes, and those will be delivered live with your faculty member. For example, you know, one of the things that I'm having to adapt in accounting, and I still have a few weeks to think about this, but I'm pretty sure that one of the things I'm going to need to do in those 75 minutes is I'm going to need to break down the learning into smaller chunks. And so to figure out how to, you know, in an online environment, it's harder to keep people's attention. This is one of the things that MBA faculty have been experiencing in the spring is, you know, it's just easier to kind of tune out or, you know, do something else. You don't have that intensity of the classroom. And so one of the ways I'll be designing my 75 minutes is that I won't let you tune out. I'll design it in such a way that we'll be, you know, shifting from one task to the next. We'll be doing different things. We'll be transitioning from one thing to the next. And so the class itself, you know, we'll still be delivering the same material, but we'll just be delivering it in a way that allows it to be a little bit more engaging. There's breakout rooms in Zoom. If you haven't used those yet, those are really fun. So just expect live classes, but expect them to be different than an in-person session, just because we're trying to keep that rhythm going with you and try and really keep your attention and also have you interact with each other. So each faculty member right now is just carefully sitting down and thinking about how they want to use those 75 minutes. And again, there's a lot of enthusiasm to try some new things. Then in the afternoon, we had in mind here that we would give you one more shorter class session that again would be delivered live through a faculty member. And that's where we've put most of those one-off classes that I described to you, the ethics, entrepreneurship, the strategy course, negotiations. A lot of those will be in the afternoon, and there will be some prep work for some of them and maybe some reflection work afterwards, but they'll be shorter. Then we have office hours set up where all of the faculty that teach in the Bridge program more than one session, so not necessarily the ones that teach one session, but the ones that teach more will be available for an hour in the afternoon for you to come see them. And sometimes those office hours might be structured in such a way where they say, again, everyone's just sort of thinking about this right now. Sometimes, you know, for me, I think I might say, hey, for the first 30 minutes, I'm going to go over the problem that we did this morning a little bit more slowly and add an extension to it if you're interested. And then for the other 30 minutes, I'll just do a Q&A. Sometimes faculty members might ask you to post Q&A on a discussion board, and then in their office hours, they'll address them. So those could be run many different ways, but again, it's just another hour where if you're really fired up about a particular course, and I know it's going to be about accounting because everyone gets fired up about accounting, you're going to be like beating down my door to talk to me about the balance sheet problem that we did in the morning. So that's there just to keep that personal touch, and so that's going to hopefully work out well. And then there's going to be an hour of study time where we're going to give you meaningful things to work on individually. That could be anything from we ask you to read something for the next day. You might be looking at some slides for the next day. There may be some short videos we ask you to watch, some quizzes, and some assignments. So there could be any number of things that we ask you to work on individually. We're trying to give you some flexibility throughout your day. We know this is a a stressful time for everyone. And we know, that many of you are home with your families. So we're trying to give you, this really intense learning experience, but also try to give you, the opportunity and flexibility to say, hey, today I just want to go for a walk this afternoon. And that's okay. You don't have to work every hour of the day. So we're just trying to give you a little bit of optionality and a little bit of flexibility, but still have that level of intensity that the Bridge program is so known for. And then in the evening, we have 3 hours of time that we expect or anticipate that you would be looking at course materials. That will be 1 hour with Bridge Associates. These are MBA students that we hire to work with you. And they will be meeting with you via Zoom in the evening for about 1 hour each evening, just to go over anything from the day, get ready for the next day. And then 2 hours again, where your faculty will be giving you meaningful things that you can work on. Again, like think of it like a menu, in accounting, I'll give you a variety of things. I'll say if you want to do a problem like the one we did in class today, here's another one. If you want to take a quiz just to see how well you're getting the material, here's a quiz. So we'll give you some optionality and some variety of things that you can be working on. So that's basically the typical day. We had this in mind, thinking about you guys, thinking about the screen time, thinking about trying to keep that personal touch. And I think that that's going to work really well. So right now, faculty are each just reflecting on their own courses. This is where we're at right now, as to exactly how we'll spend those 75 minutes with you and really make the most of the time. I think that is everything that I was going to say, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you put in the chat or ask at the end of the conversation. So I hope that helped.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, so now we'll move into our next main pillar, which we talked about, which is that experience of working in teams and completing the capstone project. So many of the applications we get, people mention the capstone project, and what's appealing about Bridge is that and the ability to collaborate on some sort of project that is really a real life experience. And as Leslie mentioned, we really want this experience to be as similar to the residential program as it can, where you're able to make connections with faculty, but you're also able to make connections with your fellow classmates, which is such a huge part of the program. And we're really hoping to be able to provide those opportunities for you virtually. So with that, all participants will still be assigned a study group. So as you saw in the evenings, you'll work with your study group and your assigned Bridge associate on homework and your project. Those study groups will be 4 to 6 students, give or take, and you guys will meet regularly live and collaborate together. You'll start off your time in the program with that team through a team building exercise to get to know each other, your working styles, and then throughout the program, you will kind of deepen your relationship together through your work, through a simulation, and through that final project, which will really be the culmination of all your efforts and the tying together, not only of your coursework, but of your group work. So a little bit more into the capstone project. Again, in your groups, you will all work to choose a publicly traded company. A publicly traded company because that means that there is financial data available to you. And then you will take all of the analysis skills you're learning in those core classes like accounting, like corporate finance, and pair them with some of the skills you're learning in courses like strategy and innovation and organizational behavior to really take a deep and complete look at that company that you choose and understand how they're positioned in the marketplace and whether or not they're under or overvalued. And once you pull that together, you'll create a very polished PowerPoint deck that you'll present to a panel of judges. which includes Tuck faculty as well as professionals who are in the career who do that for a living. So this is not only a really great opportunity, again, to bring all of your learnings together, but also a really great opportunity to work on presentation skills and those softer skills like creating a PowerPoint deck that so many employers are looking for. So when it comes down to it, these are, this capstone project is a really great piece to bring to an interview for a job or an internship, to talk about real tangible examples of work that you've done, but also those more fit interview questions like, tell me a time when you worked in a team, tell me a time when you had to produce a deliverable on time. So this is a really great experience all around. Think of it kind of like your final thesis as well. So again, each team will work together via Zoom and tools like that. You'll collaborate virtually just like you would in person, and you'll work together to pull that presentation together. In the past, some teams have chosen companies like Netflix and Boeing. And I think given the current climate, these analyses will be even more interesting to see how some of these companies are situated to weather economic and global challenges and how some aren't. So we're really excited to be able to continue to deliver these huge pieces of the program, both that group work and that group project. And we really don't see a huge change in how those will be facilitated. You'll get the same level of support. Again, you'll have access to those faculty during office hours if you want to ask questions, especially about that project, and get a little bit of additional assistance. You'll have access to your bridge associates, who are those teacher assistant like MBA students, and you'll still come out of it with a really great example of some awesome work that is super polished and ready to take to market yourself to potential employers.
Sarah, I just wanted to add something about the project.
Sure.
The other thing that something that you said prompted me to want to mention is the coordination across the coursework is there, but there's also coordination between the coursework and the project. So for example, when you deliver your final project presentation at the end, I'll be one of the faculty that you present to, as well as the marketing professor in Bridge will be another faculty member that you present to. You'll also have a finance faculty member who she's actually married to the finance faculty member that will be teaching your course. So she'll be there and she knows the material very, very well. And so the idea that I just wanted to leave you with is that, all throughout the program, if you wanted to come see me or anyone about the coursework, you can also think of that as time that you can see us about how the coursework applies to the project. So the idea really is to teach you the foundations. One of the big skills that I'm going to leave you with is how to build a financial model that actually works, that you can use to make decisions with. And that financial model is the foundation of the project model that you'll use. And so how my coursework applies to the project is something that's very fair game for you to want to talk to me about. And, so there's really coordination the whole way along. And I think that's another thing that's made the program just be so unique over the last 24 years. It's just the level of coordination that goes on among the faculty. So.
Great, thank you, Leslie. All right, moving along to our next pillar and another huge component of the program. So I will turn it over to Jackie Stacy, who heads up a lot of our corporate partnerships and career programming. Jackie will take you through what kind of career support, career resources, networking opportunities, and such will still be available as we conduct this virtual bridge program. So please welcome Jackie.
Hey everyone, thanks Sarah and Leslie for a really strong overview on what we're going to do this summer. I know I speak for all of us when I say we're all really excited to see how this forms and to support you. There's just a lot of excitement coming out of an adverse situation. So we're here and ready for you. So I'm going to just kind of quickly run through some of the career programming. And I've got to say, I feel really, really good about being able to provide almost the same, if not better quality opportunities for you all to connect and make meaningful connections with our alumni and corporate partners. So a lot of the things, while they might look different, there's still going to be that high touch, high quality, interactions that you would expect of Bridge. And taking into consideration all of their shareholders here. So Tuck Career Services, our corporate partners, and our fabulous alumni who have just really stepped up and are excited to work with you all too. So starting off with our career services content, excuse me, it's going to look very similar to what we provide during the Bridge program. It's going to be, like our classes, a mix of synchronous and asynchronous, because we don't want you to be stuck in front of a screen all day, every day. We want you to be able to still have access to the material, but work through it at your own pace and in your own time. So we've divided the career services content into 2 program streams, one being the career industry exploration, the other being kind of skill development sessions. And so the industry exploration sessions will cover kind of the 3 main industries that we generally look at during Bridge, but again, broken into smaller bites so that you're not watching an hour-long lecture. There'll be 20 minutes, give you a quick dive into each of the different industries, and then kind of sub-industries as well. So we'll cover finance, consulting, and marketing formally, but then Sarah and Leslie have mentioned our Bridge Associates, and those are also going to be fabulous career resources for all of you because they have experience in an even wider range of professional settings. So those are going to be just icing on the cake for those sessions. And then when we jump into skill development, resume workshop, cover letter workshop, networking, and then covering a couple of different types of interviews. So timely, we will do a session on virtual interviews, fit interviews, and case interviews. And so all of the sessions will be delivered pre-recorded, but then Career Services will offer live sessions where you can just kind of pop in, ask questions. There will be lots of opportunities for you to check in and get advice from them. And what I usually say in my info sessions is, you all have access to really high quality, fabulous career development resources at your own institutions, but this is just another lens, another way for you to make sure that your resume is just the most polished it can be, finding lots of different synonyms for works collaboratively with others to plug into your cover letters. And all of our career counselors are looking at your materials and helping you through that business lens and through a Tuck lens. So the support you receive from them will be exceptional. The next piece I'll talk about, so our Career Bridge Day, and I'm sure some of you may have kind of heard about this. For all intents and purposes, it's our recruiting day that happens on campus. And generally we run alumni discussion panels, our career fair, and closed interviews for full-time and internship opportunities. So I'm sure you know that this will look different. But again, our goal is to have you and our employers and our alumni create just really high quality connections that will serve you well down the road. So the alumni discussion panels, we will still run those virtually. Again, following the same kind of industry breakdown that Career Services will. We'll run a panel on marketing, consulting, and finance. And those will be delivered live. Plenty of opportunities for you to ask questions and connect with those alumni after the fact as well. We will still compile a resume book. So generally we have all Bridge students format their resume in the Tuck format and then distribute that resume book to all of our corporate partners. So we absolutely will still do that. The piece that will look a little bit different, we will not be offering a virtual career fair, because again, our goal is to create meaningful connections. So we really want you to be able to get FaceTime, one-on-one time with our recruiters and with our alumni. And we just don't know if a virtual career fair will do that. So what we've decided to do is we've asked our alumni to offer mock interviews Again, trying to keep it industry specific. So if you're interested in marketing, we will pair you with a marketing professional and offer you 20 minutes to connect with that alumni, do a mock interview, have them look through your resume. And after the program, we will provide all contact information for all of those alumni and corporate partners who've volunteered their time to do those interviews. We really feel like this is a great chance for you to make meaningful connections while still staying within the constraints of our calendar and our bandwidth. And then finally, I've been surprised, but there's been a lot